Hello everybody and welcome back to Arizona Adventure Park. This is going to be the last episode where we are building a habitat for our ape house. Ape house, monkey house, I still haven't decided how to call it, but yeah, this is the last episode for the habitats of this, for the outdoor habitats I might say, for this project. In the next episode we are going to spend our whole time to finish the area and especially finish the inside of the house. That means we are going to decorate and make those indoor habitats for the gorilla, the bonobo, and for the chimpanzee proper and nice looking, and also make the inside of the house nice for our guests. Put in some properties as well. I think maybe we are going to put in a toilet as well if we have some room left for that. I don't know, we'll see how this might work out. Yes, as I already spoiled you a little bit, we are going to build a habitat for the bonobo. Yeah, in the last episode I was asking what should we do next. Should we have a habitat for the orangutan in there, or should we have a habitat for the bonobo in there and make something different for the orangutan? Should we leave the bonobo completely out of our zoo? And on my Discord you guys decided that you wanted to have both primates in our zoo, and so we had to build a habitat for the bonobos, because you wanted the bonobos in this house and not the orangutan, because you said the orangutan deserves its own habitat, its own area. So we might do that, maybe a little Asian area where we will have the proboscis monkey, the siamang, and the orangutan. Maybe just hadn't thought about that, because we still have a lot of work to do to make this work here. And yeah, this is going to be a short video again, because I thought, why should we do a lengthy video about things that we did already do for the gorillas and for the chimpanzees? So I decided to cut a lot of stuff out here, especially for the barriers that I put around the habitat, because you've all seen that in the last episode and the episode before. So I thought you don't want to see that a third time, and that's why this episode is going to be a little bit shorter. The bonobo is a primate species that is not that old. I think it's not that old that it's been discovered. I can remember as a kid, a long time ago, there wasn't known that much about bonobos. Bonobos were really rare, almost not to see in any zoos, and in the beginning they were not very common to be called bonobos, so they were called like dwarf chimpanzees or pygmy chimpanzees, something like that. Don't know how it was in English, but at least that was the German name for them. And they were not very common in zoos, and these days many zoos do keep them when they have something like a big ape house like we do here in Arizona. So most of them do keep bonobos, chimpanzees, gorillas, and orangutans, or at least one of the chimp species. So as I might have said before, I'm not that huge of a monkey fan in general. Like, yeah, many people that and especially children when they go to zoos are very excited to see the monkeys. And yeah, mommy, 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 can we go see the chimpanzees? Yeah, I never was that kind of child. Um, Monkeys never excited me that much. Well, it was nice to see them, but I never was a monkey fan, and I still am not. I don't know, because it wouldn't make sense when I say to you that I think monkeys are very boring. You might say, "Oh my God," but they are so close to humans, and they do so many things when you watch them in zoos, and they are so intelligent, and yeah. Maybe it is because they are so closely related to humans and also with their behaviors that I think it is very boring to look at them. Maybe. So I always was more into almost every other animal, and even as a child, yeah, I might take the longer road to tell you this. I am someone when I am visiting zoos. I'm an animal nerd. I'm a zoo nerd. I have said that before, I think. And I am always looking for animals and species that I've never seen before, because I'm always looking for some rare species and where can you see them in a zoo, and yeah, I'm always looking forward to that. And I always was that person, even as a little child. I was so excited for new animals in the zoo. I can remember okapis. Okapis are also not kept that long in zoos, and yeah, they are also not that old in terms of being discovered by humans. So okapis are very very young species, I think. Yeah, so what I wanted to say, I can remember when my home zoo in Munich had its first okapis. I was so excited to see okapis because at this point in the 80s, I have never heard of an okapi before. So it was such a cool thing to see such an animal that I never heard of, that I've never seen before, and looking at such a weird creature that looks like a combination of giraffe and zebra and some kind of antelope. And yeah, that's just oh, have you noticed I said antelope? So I pronounced it correctly this time. Yeah, I always was that person, and so I always was excited for animals like that, or as well for echidnas. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Yeah, because also my home zoo in Munich in the 80s had some echidnas. I can remember I never saw them because they always hid somewhere in their habitat, even though the habitat was pretty small in the 80s. You can imagine zoos were very different back then. Yeah, but I always was excited for those rarities, and as I said, I still am. And yeah, so that's also something I'm very excited for when I'm going to the USA in October. I yeah, I talk about that a lot, I guess. But it is because I'm really, really very, very excited, because there are some animal species in US zoos that you usually don't see in Germany or especially in Europe anymore. Especially antelopes, like the I hope I pronounced that one correctly, like the Bontebok. Um, when I say that, it sounds a lot like Netherlands, Bontebok. Yeah, but no wonder, because we had some Dutch colonies in Africa, or we still do have. So yeah, but this is kind of a species that you don't see in German or in European zoos anymore. So I'm always excited to see them, as well as the Gerenuk, the giraffe gazelle. Very, very cool species. You can see them in Berlin, in the zoo, and also in the Tierpark, but nowhere else in Germany or in Europe, I guess. But they are pretty common in US zoos, I think. So yeah, just Google it. It's an amazing gazelle. With a very, very long neck, so that's why the name giraffe gazelle is, or where the name giraffe gazelle is coming from. And yeah, very, very cool species. They also tend to eat food from tree branches, so they have to get on their yeah, on two legs, to stand on two legs, so that they can eat the leaves from the tree branches. So very cool stuff. Just Google them if you're interested in. Yeah, so yeah, we are talking a lot about rare species, and not having a look at what I'm building here right now. But yeah, you already know that from the last episodes. It's very similar to what we did there. We have these fake tree, yeah, those fake trees. And what I was doing in Waveland Park, you might see that in the episode that is going to air on Saturday. Go watch it, because this is such a great episode. And we are going to have our first habitat in the river's edge, for the giant otters. And yeah, that is something that I did there as well. I used those fake tree stumps, you call it like that, and I took real trees and put them in there. Well, doesn't make a lot of sense, but I like the look of the fake trees, and I don't want to build a tree myself. So I just decided, okay, use those fake trees and put some real trees in there, which looks very interesting. And also it might prevent animals to climb them. Not quite sure, so I'm not gonna give you that as a tip. I have to look into that, but I can imagine this would be the case, that the animals can't climb those fake trees. So if you put real trees in there, you could prevent them from climbing them. But yeah, I'm going to check that and tell you in the next episode, or maybe in the video description, because if that is true, that would be a very, very cool thing, I think. Yeah, so once again, building some climbing frames, my favorite thing to do in Planet Zoo. And yeah, trying to make the habitat look nice. When I finish that habitat, you might see in a few minutes, I noticed that I forgot a very important thing. I hope I thought about that. I'm not quite sure, but I think I thought about that for the other two habitats. I have to have a look at that. Yeah, I forgot that I had nothing where my animals could find something to drink. I didn't want to put in the, do you call it feeder? The water supply thingy, whatever. Didn't want it to have that in there. So yeah, after I watched the animals for some time, exploring the habitat, I decided to have a little bit of a pool, or yeah, some water feature in there. Also, the habitat looks much nicer when you have something in there. That's something I always try to do, no matter for what animal, but I always try to have something like a little pond or something in my habitat, just to make it look a little bit nicer and also have a natural feature where the animals can get some water from and not having it from those water pipes or something like that. I always think it is nicer when your habitat looks a little bit more natural. Yeah, maybe when we are finished with Arizona, we are going for a little bit more realism. I don't know if you guys are into that, so let me know in the comment section what you think about that. So I decided to put a little bit more focus on backstage areas and especially for the animals, for some kind of stables where the animals would be closed in for the night. Also some possibilities, especially when you have some hoof stock. You don't want them to breed all the time, so you have a little habitat that is separated from the main habitat where you can have the males in there. So most of the time the visitors also can't see the males, and only the female group is in the front, and visitors can see them, and the male ones are more at the backstage area, or a little group of males, because often many times it is the case that the males are going to fight each other when they are in a group with some females. So you want to have some kind of a bachelor group where they don't fight each other because they don't need, or that they don't want to mate with the females. And that is something I was thinking about. So just tell me in the comment section if we should go for some realism in our next zoo build, or if you prefer to have a little bit more freedom, or to see a little bit more freedom in my zoo builds. Yeah, so here it is. We are building some kind of a pond, or not building, it's more like creating some kind of a pond. I didn't want it to be too big, so just have a little bit of a water feature in there. And yeah, I really do like it. Putting some rocks around the whole thing so that it looks a little bit nicer. And then we are finished with our bonobo habitat. Yeah, that also means we are already at the end of this episode. I hope you guys liked it. If you did so, you know what you have to do. Just hit the like button, just hit the subscribe button, so you don't miss next week's episode when we are going to finish the inside of our ape, monkey, primate house, whatever you might call it. And I have some very cool ideas for that. So thinking of another glass roof and some kind of a volcano, or a huge waterfall in there. Yeah, just wait and see what I'm coming up with. So guys, this one needs a little anger management, I think. Okay, so guys, thanks for watching. I hope to see you guys next week on next Monday, because you know Mondays are for Arizona. So have a great time. Until then, bye.